This is why I'm so happy, because it's changeover day. Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, trustees, are we ready? Okay.
Of course.
Michael, are we ready? Yes. Staff, Julia, we ready? Staff? Okay, all right. The regular meeting of the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees is now called to order at 9:32. Good morning, everyone. And Art, would you please do the Pledge of Allegiance? Lead us.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Art.
Of course.
Roll call, President Kinnaman.
Student Trustee Delgado.
Here.
Trustee Mary Jane Sanchez
Present.
Fulton. Trustee Yant.
Present.
Trustee Stefan.
Present.
Trustee Broughton.
Present.
Madam Chair Wilson.
Yes, present, thank you. We now move on to item 2, organization for 2018. It's been a long, wonderful year, and a year of tremendous learning for me. But it is my pleasure to move on to this item. At today's, at today's meeting, the board will implement its official system of rotating the officers. Trustee Becky Broughton, our vice chair, will now be the new chairperson. So I am going to hand over the gavel to Trustee Broughton.
You can't tell
Smile,
she's
Becky.
pushing it this way.
Smile. Smile, Becky.
Here you go. Thank you, Becky. Thank you. All right, we're gonna do the changeover right now, so we're gonna rotate a little bit. Trustee Bonnie Stefan will now be the vice chairperson. So if you'll please bear with us for a couple minutes. And we take our chairs, right, Julia?
Yeah, we have to take our chairs too.
Your pen.
Chairs are adjusted to our.
Oh. Whatever the case may be,
Be patient with us for a few minutes, please, thank you.
because we're, thank you. Where's Pam?
Do you want me to?
And slide.
Do you want me
Oh, yeah.
Is that mine? You did.
What'd I do?
Fred, is this yours?
Oh, yeah, it is.
That's yours. I'm like, Did we do the names?
I think that,
Nobody
stand for us.
did that?
Yes.
Did you get it?
Or are we?
I left something else here, didn't I?
I think it got moved for you.
Did it call?
Mhm, I think it got moved for you. Okay, so, I'm gonna do it here. Get Pam. Okay, Aurora, before you get settled in, I'd like to present our thank you plaque.
I'm sorry, I gotta get a picture for my daughter.
Why don't you do it
Over
over that
here,
way?
so we
Yeah,
can-
where there's no
Okay.
interference from all of this.
Thank you.
Aurora, I'd like to present you with the plaque for being chairperson for the Board of Trustees for 2016-2017. I want to thank you for an absolutely terrific job that you've done. You've put your heart and soul into it and have just really raised the bar for being chairperson. So I kind of regret that because it's going to make me look bad, but we really enjoyed your professionalism.
Please
Thank you
note
so
that
much.
I did not get carded one time this year. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aurora. Thank you, Joe. Here, I'll actually give it back to her. Pass this down to her. Just might be slightly,
Wait. It's mine, right here. I didn't hear mine.
okay, we'll get organized eventually. I thank you for this vote of trust. Actually, it's our board policy that has us rotate each year. When I joined the board, your first meeting is the meeting where officers are chosen. And to me, it was a very strange experience because I'm used to working with people that actually want you there and are happy to embrace you and make you feel welcome. But instead, there was a lot of squabbling over who was going to be in what position. So a fellow trustee and I and some others that were on the board at the time said, you know, this would be much better if we had a system of rotation where you could plan for your time that you were going to be in the different positions, where you had an opportunity to grow up in the organization so that you didn't just drop into a board and suddenly become the chair, but instead you have a chance to learn how it functions and how your fellow board members function. So this does work. I'm very happy that it does, and I thank you all for your support. My fellow trustee, Bonnie Stefan, will now be the vice chairperson, which is absolutely terrific because Bonnie keeps me on track and she helps me find the page that I'm desperately looking for in the notebook. Fred Yount moves up as clerk. Dr. Kinnaman remains as secretary. And we thank you, Carlos, for being our parliamentarian. Carlos keeps me more or less on track and only quietly waves the red card at me. I ignore it mostly.
What did you say?
He only quietly waves that red card at me, but I mostly ignore it, but sometimes he will let me. So now we move on to the committees which are outside the rotation of the officers. Do I have a nomination for Representative Citizens Bond Oversight Committee?
If I may, Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Fred Yount.
Okay, is there a second for that nomination?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any other folks vying for this position? You're out of luck, Fred. Is there any other discussion? That being no more nominations or discussion, all in favor of Fred being the representative of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Yes. I'm so sorry. You'll have to tell me 47 more times, student trustee. Student trustee, your advisory vote?
Aye.
Thank you. And we do value it. I just get lost. Yes.
Carlos.
Yes, that's right. So he keeps me in line. I appreciate that. Okay. And our fellow trustees, let's do this again. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That sounds to me like a unanimous vote, Fred. Thank you so much for your service. Do I have a motion for nomination of, well, let me see, I just did that one. Let's move on to the next. For county committee, there's an educational county committee. Do I have a motion for that committee?
Can I nominate Mary Jane Sanchez, please?
You may. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and I got a nod of a yes from her, so she will accept that. Are there any other nominations? Then, with the nominations closed, I'll ask the student trustee for his vote. See, I remembered.
Aye.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Again, I hear everyone's vote, and I hear that it's a unanimous vote. Do I have any nominations for the Desert Financing Corporation?
I'd like to nominate Mary Jane Sanchez for that.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second?
So I have a nomination and a second. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no more nominations, the nominations are closed. Student trustee?
Aye.
My fellow trustees, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing unanimous votes, I call that as a pass with unanimous votes. Do I have a motion for the nomination of, let me see, moving this over, representative of the Board of Trustees to the COD Foundation?
Could I nominate our past chair? That's what we've done in the past usually. Had the past chair represent us on that. Aurora Wilson, please.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, nominations are closed. Student trustee?
Aye.
My fellow trustees, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing that is unanimous vote. Aurora will be our representative of the foundation. Yes.
If we needed a second, you can.
You needed a
Oh, I did need a second, and you're right. So we have one from Fred, a little belated, but, oops, yes, exactly. Okay. But we don't need to revote, right? Okay, thank you.
Oh, now you can say that.
And now I will say again that Carlos is our parliamentarian, as he has shown us, and we do appreciate him. Thank you so much. So with that smooth beginning, we'll move into the board meeting agenda. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2B2, the board may take action on items of business not appearing on the posted agenda upon a determination by 2/3 vote of the board, or if less than 2/3 of the members are present, a unanimous vote of those present, that there is a need to take immediate action and that the need for action came to the attention of the local agency subsequent to the agenda being posted as specified. Have there been any such items to come before the board? There haven't been, so we will move on to our agenda. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to this agenda that we've been presented with for today, December the 15th? Hearing none, the agenda stands confirmed as presented. Okay, at this time, we will move to closed session. The board will now recess to closed session from 9:35 to 10:15. The board will reconvene to open session at 10:30. So I thank you, and we will return at 10:30. What are the right words, Carlos? We'll recess, okay.
hour.
We ready?
Yeah,
Well, not quite. We're short.
I think
Fred.
he's in the restroom. I think he's gonna be there.
I'm gonna wait till we have all the trustees here because I want to be sure that we all hear the public update. So I'd like to call our board meeting back to order. There are no reportable actions were taken in closed session. The next item on our agenda is public updates. President Kinnaman?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and happy holidays, everybody. And I'm going to take a liberty before everybody else gets to do their report. And part of my public update, we have a new board chair, Bonnie Steffen, and we also have an outstanding board chair, Trustee Aurora Wilson, and we just want to thank you again for this past year. It's been a great year.
It was an honor. Thank you.
I don't want to be board chair yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're not true.
Yeah, board chair, yeah.
You know, I've done that twice in 2 weeks. I've got,
Okay, it's okay.
I don't know what it is. They're working as a team, I guess, and I'm getting them
Yeah, they
confused or
take all my
something.
heart medicine for that.
I'm sorry, Trustee Broughton, please
Yeah.
do not hold that against me as we go into this next year. For our public updates, I would like for us to go ahead and move our presentations to the beginning of the meeting. And for my update, I'd like, Tim, if you could come up and give us an update on the public safety update. And then that will be afterwards followed by our update on our construction. Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So every October 1st, we have to report our crime statistics to the government in regards to our funding. And every year when we do this, we go ahead and put out our crime statistics for you to view. But before we get into that, I wanted to just remind everybody what the Clary Act is and what it entails. So the Clary Act mandates that higher education institutions receiving federal funds report on campus crime statistics annually. College of the Desert's 2016 Clary Report can be assessed online, and we also have some hard copies here for you, and they're also available at the Public Safety Office. Our 2016 report includes the methods of reporting those crimes, who to report those crimes to, and emergency notices are delivered, and how they're delivered, and what resources can be called upon through the local and state governments in case of any kind of emergency. In 1997, they also added a Violence Against Women's Act, VAWA, which we have added into the Clary, which it now includes domestic issues like stalking, domestic violence, dating violence, that kind of stuff, and we've added that in the Clary Act as well. So for the Palm Desert campus, we had one incident of an aggravated assault that occurred on campus, 2 burglaries, 6 motor vehicle thefts, and when we talk about motor vehicle thefts, we don't just mean cars, we mean like carts, golf carts as well. So that's included in that, so it's not just vehicles, cars. 21 thefts of property, and 10 destruction of property. Now, destruction of property is vandalism. So if somebody tags up or marks up a building, that's considered destruction of property. So we had that on the Palm Desert campus. In the Indio campus, it's a different story. We had 1 incident of burglary, 4 destruction of property, and 8 thefts of property. With that, it just goes down as we go to Mecca. We had no reportable crimes at all on that campus for that. So that was definitely a good thing. With those incidents that have occurred there, we also have been up to a lot of things. And last year, we had our change from the security department. We were rebranded to the public safety department, and we celebrated that. Last April, the public safety department hosted an open house where officers received their new uniforms and badges, and we recognized some people. Dr. Kinnaman, VP Howell, and Dean Maldonado were recognized at that time for their continued support for the public safety department. Also, many of our officers, and I wanted to include this as well, just as a informational item for you to know, but also many of our officers are alumni of the college that were trained right here at COD's Public Safety Academy. Within the next 6 months, our public safety officers will attend additional trainings in CERT, Community Emergency Response Team training. We are going to be including a lot of emergency preparedness this year for the campus. And in order to do that, we wanted to at least go ahead and get our officers trained in the newest, with the newest information with regards to emergency preparedness and safety. And every 2 months, our department holds training exercises for all our officers, whether that be something like verbal judo or defense tactics or CPR, first aid, whatever that may be, just in order for us to continuously have that training. Additionally, we've tried to do some community partnerships with other entities for the purpose of training and information, and that's been with the Riverside County Sheriff's Office, the CREST team, which is the Community Response Evaluation Support Team. That is a team that comes out for behavioral incidents and incidents with mental illnesses. We've also have a partnership with the Riverside County Emergency Management Department. We just started one with the TSA as well for their bomb recognition officer training with Palm Springs PD as well as with Indio PD. So we try to at least go out to the community and build those relationships with that. Along with that, part of that partnership included the Department of Homeland Security, and they invited us to take part in their See Something, Say Something campaign. And as you could see from the flyer, if you see something, say something, it is a national campaign that raises public awareness of the indicators of terrorism and terrorist-related crimes, as well as the importance of reporting suspicious activity to local law enforcement. And as you can see, we have our two male models that are back here to sign autographs as well for that flyer. But we were able to get some students and our officers to join in on that. So that concludes my report for that. I have a short video presentation, but unless there's any questions,
I have one question.
Yes,
Did we
ma'am.
send anybody to the Alice training?
I don't believe so, but I can, if that's a training that,
It's with regard to active shooters,
oh, the Alice training. No, but
that
we,
they shouldn't call active shooters.
right. I can get that information and go ahead and send people. We do our own active shooter training here as it is. We have done that for our flex presentations for student, staff, and faculty. Matter of fact, just this morning, right before I came here, I did the active shooter training for our Palm Desert Library. So it's funny that you mentioned that. But it may not be that specific one, but we do active shooter trainings, absolutely.
Any other questions?
I really enjoy hearing your presentation and talk about our public safety and what we're doing here at the College of the Desert to protect our students, our staff, and everyone. So thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you. And I have a thumb drive if you'd like. Yep. There it is. And while we're doing that, I'll go ahead and do something I was going to hold to the end, but I'll go ahead and do it now. I'm a Army veteran. Been a veteran. I was on active and reserve for the Army for 13 years, and I got out in 2008. And one of the things that we do in the military that has transpired onto different other things is the idea of coining. And what that basically entails is when we were in the military or in law enforcement, when you do something good or what have you, you are presented with a challenge coin. And that challenge coin is something that you receive, and it's a memento of what you did well and so forth. And it being the Christmas season, we have challenge coins for you. But there's a specific way the challenge coin is actually issued out. And what it is basically the commander or whoever's presenting the coin will palm the coin in their hand, and when they do that, you shake their hand, and they dump the hand over, and you receive the coin. And so at this time, we'd like to go ahead and present the board with a coin from the Public Safety Department. And this is the very first time we've done this. This is our inaugural run. These are all gold coins. From here on out, when we do in the next batch, they will never be gold again. They will always be silver, so this is specific. So I have since I'm Santa, I have my elves here helping me out, and they will be shaking your hands.
So what do we do?
I guess we
Accept
stand.
it.
Do we just stand? Okay.
Take their hand.
Oh my God, I want a picture of
We
this.
stand, I guess.
I want a picture.
Isn't this nice? How nice.
Is it facing?
Very nice.
We salute?
Real nice.
And finally, this is the long-awaited video.
College of the Desert Public Safety Department has provided security and safety to this district for a number of years. Throughout that time, there have been many changes in the department. However, one thing has remained constant, and that constant is to provide a safe and secure learning environment with an emphasis in customer service. I say customer service because it is important for us to realize that the campus community and the students are our customers.
Best thing I like about this job is serving the college community. As a college alumni, I graduated back in 2008, and this is my service back into the college to serve the faculty, staff, students, making sure they're safe, and they pursue their goals and make sure they're in a safe environment, campus in Palm Desert, in New York.
I like that I'm serving the college, that I'm serving the staff, the students, and in some way I feel that I'm giving back because I did attend this college.
The public safety versus a security officer. Public safety, you're getting involved with the public. You're actually responding to calls. You're actually being present. You're actually serving. You're actually being part of serving the community, serving the college. And as a security, you're a little more, not as much involved, I believe, in public safety. You put yourself more in there as service, preventing crime, assisting students, staff, and being more observant and being more hands-on.
One thing that we've implemented is enhanced training. Every officer has to take a number of courses, which include psychological first aid, victims assistance training, understanding of planning for school bombing incidents, and the vast majority have also attended a post-certified peace officer academy. These trainings really assist our public safety officers with a deeper understanding of what safety on campus is all about. The reason for this is because public safety is much more than your average security department. It's more than just observing and reporting, and our training reflects that now. That is why our public safety officers have additional training with active shooter scenarios, emergency preparedness, arrest and control, and de-escalating techniques. We have also hired former peace officers and military veterans within our ranks. They are an invaluable resource, and it adds an additional level of professionalism to our department.
My background in law enforcement is I spent approximately 9 years working for the city police department.
I spent 20 years as a police officer in the United Kingdom. During that time, I performed a variety of roles. Upon completing my service in the United Kingdom, I then spent 3 years training police officers on behalf of the United States government. In 2014, I came to the desert to live, and I then took up a position within the College of the Desert Public Safety Department.
My prior service in the military, and my prior law enforcement career has assisted me and helped me greatly in transitioning to the public safety department, because it gave me a broader view of what I was open to. And with law enforcement, working with the school police and the school district, it opened up a lot of doors for me.
I think both roles are identical in that the goal of any peace officer or public safety officer is to preserve the peace and protect the community in which they serve. Here at the College of the Desert Public Safety Department, we maintain the highest standards and operating procedures to ensure that staff and students alike are provided with a safe and secure learning environment in which to grow and to enable them to study to the best of their abilities.
It is important to realize we are not a security department any longer.
We are public safety.
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 Excellent.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I have a couple questions, Madam Chair.
Yes. You're not quite off the hook yet. Yes, Aurora.
I just wanted to, it was great. You're doing an outstanding job. As you know, we do have our emergency notification system for our students, and I wondered what the role is with regard to our security with regard to that emergency notification system. What do you do relative to that? That's the email system, I believe, that is used to notify our
text sometimes.
students in the event of emergency.
Oh, okay, so the RAVE communication system. Do you mean as far as what we communicate to our officers, or?
Sure, what do you, yeah.
So if something comes in where we need to notify the school, we do it through multiple ways. And one is the RAVE communication, which is what everybody gets on an email and a text. You'll get it on the phone. Additionally, we'll go ahead and depending on the emergency, so if it's an earthquake or something, we'll go ahead and put out a recorded message that will go on the loudspeakers on the HILB that will tell students to exit or give directions. The phones in each of the classrooms and offices also have a speaker on it, which will give out that message to evacuate or to shelter in place and what have you. So emergency notification is like an onion or layers of a cake or whatever, however we're going to say it. The more layers, the better it is. So we have the message delivered through the speakers, through the phones, through your texts and emails. So with that, the goal is to obviously get the message out to as many people as you can.
And this is at all our satellite campuses as well?
Yes, that is correct. Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and your security officers are also at all of the campuses?
Our public safety officers are currently located at the Mecca Indio campus, the Palm Desert campus, and the Palm Springs campus shortly.
And do you do any tabletop exercises?
Yes, we do.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question, because I come from Desert Hot Springs. We currently do not have any safety officers?
No, we do. Palm Springs Unified School District has a security officer there, so they're contracted to cover that campus, and so they cover our students as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
One question. How many public safety officers are in each campus?
Depends on the shift, time of day, and so forth. Anywhere between 2 and 3 for the other campuses. For this campus, depending on the time of day, we have 4 or 5. And then obviously for events like graduation, commencement, 4th of July, and other football events and so forth, we have more.
And I would behoove myself, I didn't ask this question. Are they bilingual?
Some of them are, yes, that is correct. Trevor from the UK is obviously not, but it's hard to understand his English as it is. But a lot of our staff do speak Spanish as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? We thank you, and we thank you for the blend of public safety, and you're reaching out to the individuals that are on this campus. I believe it's one of those community law enforcement things. The more that the college community knows you, the more likely we are to be able to interact with them and keep crime down, so that we all feel safe. A lot of safety is perception, so teaching ourselves and each other to recognize events and to report them, to feel free to report them, makes a big difference. So we thank you for all of your hard work, and thank you to your officers as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And at this time, I'd like to ask Mac McGinnis to come forward. He's going to give us a facilities update. Thank you, Mac.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Board, and President, Vice Presidents. My name is Mac McGinnis, Bond Program Manager here at College of the Desert, and I've put together, with the help of Mike Hadley, a video to start this off, to talk about where we've been, where we are, and a vision of where we could go. So if you could start that.
In the late 1950s, a group of individuals all over the Coachella Valley came together to celebrate the birth of a college, known today as College of the Desert, located in Palm Desert, California. After months of planning and designing, there were cranes and concrete, bulldozers and construction workers, earth movers and graders. The new college site was underway. When completed, the doors were open to 400 students on the first day of school, offering a variety of new programs and a beautiful environment for students to learn. An oasis in the desert. In 2004, the voters passed Measure B, allowing the campus to expand to meet the growing needs of the students and the campus community. Since the 1960s, minimal construction efforts took place on the campus. The passing of Measure B would bring new and renovated structures to meet the demands of the growth and to keep pace with the new program offerings. It was a time of celebration with speeches, groundbreaking ribbon-cutting ceremonies, and folklorical dancers. The campus and surrounding communities took part in these celebrations and were honored to contribute to the success of the campus. The campus was alive with activity that celebrated the planned and current capital improvement projects at COD. A new campus was constructed in the mechathermal area of the East Valley and opened in 2010. This new campus allowed our East Valley residents access to higher education in a location closer to home. The campus was recently expanded to include a new computer and science lab, prep room, and an additional classroom. In 2017, an observatory was constructed and the first light celebration was held. The telescopes and observatory structures at the mechathermal campus were made possible by Ivo Kudnorak. Completed in 2014, the new Indio campus building is 3 stories in height and has 43,000 square feet. However, the campus was at capacity on opening day. Now, with the planned expansion of a proposed 50,000 square foot structure, it will allow the Indio campus to meet the demands of the surrounding community, offering new and expanded programs. To relieve some of the immediate pressure, modular structures were added to the campus. This new modular campus in Desert Hot Springs was completed in collaboration with the Palm Springs Unified School District and the Edward E. Winslow Center. It consists of 4 modular structures, including classrooms, computer labs, and restroom facilities. The passing of Measure B has allowed COD to expand to meet the growth of the Coachella Valley. This effort addresses the need for new and renovated facilities to accommodate the surge in the student population. Keeping with the charge of sustainability, multiple new structures were designed and built, along with many of the existing buildings being renovated to meet the ever-changing program requirements. The newly redesigned Monterey entrance gives COD the look and feel of a 4-year university. Students are proud to call this their campus. In November of 2016, Measure CC was passed, making future expansion opportunities a reality for the Desert Community College District. COD administration is currently working with consultants on a new master plan that will be the roadmap of the future for development at all campus locations. Some of the projects being discussed are a new university center, math and science building, the new Palm Springs campus, and a planetarium.
So that concludes the video portion of the presentation. So,
Not sure about the narration there.
yeah. Right. Obviously, that's a look at the past and then just kind of a quick look at potential future opportunities. But there are a number of things that have been completed, obviously, with Measure B. I just mentioned some in the video there. There are a number of projects that we've completed over the summer of this past year that include, turning a underutilized exercise room at PSA into a computer lab for 57 people that was really needed. We took the second floor of diesel mechanics and turned that into 4 classrooms and computer labs and six offices. So we really upgraded that space. If you haven't been up there lately, you should take a look at that. A culinary was always a congested area, so we were able to take a look at that and move some things around and do some new flooring and stuff to kind of make it more accessible. So it's a nice space. We're going to do another phase 2 with happens to upgrade some of the mechanical systems there as well. We upgraded the restrooms at the Golf Academy and made those accessible and nicer because they were deteriorating badly. But one of the more significant projects that we've been working on is the West Valley Modular, the temporary campus in Palm Springs. We've been excited about making this campus, bringing it on board for early January or by January 22nd. So everybody is excited and everybody's giving input and working on this. So we're really excited about that as well. So as we go into the future, obviously we're really looking at the possibilities that Measure CC will bring. Currently, again, we're working on the Indio campus as well, the new 50,000 square foot building, and then also working through some programming opportunities for the West Valley and the Indio campus as well. So again, we're really excited and want the celebration to continue. And we used to celebrate a lot of things here at the campus. The campus has a lot of things to brag about and should be very proud about the accomplishments that they've had. So anyway, any questions?
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I'm on the Friends of the COD Library board, and so what's the status of our library here?
The Hill Library, we have got the project out of DSA now, and we have to do a significant hazardous remediation. So we're going to be starting that in February. Now that we've completed the adjunct faculty space, we've moved them out into their space, and we're creating a student study area because we don't want to close the Hill and leave the students out.
Yes.
So we're creating a space for them to come and study like they had in the Hill. And after that, in early March, we will start the remediation piece.
Great.
So
Thank
where is the student study area going to be moved to?
It's going to be an administration building. If you know the main hallway there, there was an area just to the west that was walled off. It was the old registration area, I think it was called. And we're going to open that back up. We've already moved all the furniture out of there. So we're going to open that up and new carpet and paint, make it really nice lighting. And we're going to put seating in there for all the students come in. They'll have internet capability and yeah, it's going to be really nice.
That's terrific. That is one of the things that we are short is places for students to sit and study. Many of our students get dropped off
Yeah.
and picked up, and their opportunity to do their homework, to study and use the internet is while they're on this campus or one of our other campuses. So I'm really happy to hear we're going to have some more student spaces. That'll be terrific.
And I'm sure as going forward, Measure CC, all of that will be taken into consideration too. So a lot of nice spaces. You have a question?
What's going to happen to the old offices that were in the administration building?
The old offices.
Yeah, in the room, there's like old offices.
Yeah. So there's some offices on the south side of the building. We're going to create 2 executive type offices for visiting dignitaries that may come to the campus, need a place to hang out while they're here. And one other one is going to be a Scantron room for the Scantrons that are currently housed in the Hill. They'll be moved over there along with some printers and stuff for access by adjunct and faculty, the same. The offices on the north, there are no plans for those right now. We have things stored in those because we're real short on storage space. So that's more of a confidential storage area. So it'll be painted not on the inside, just on the outside, so it'll look nice. But the interiors would be more for, you know, type of confidential storage spaces.
Well, yeah, because I see that a lot of students, whether they go to like Mesa or the library, need like a space to gather together. Like
Yes.
students come together
To do
and able to
projects,
rent a
that's
room
true.
to do homework, things like that, work on projects together. So
Right.
seeing if we could maybe do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Add a whiteboard and like a
that'd be a
table,
good
things like that. That way they have a private room.
I know once the Hill is completed, they're gonna have multiple rooms like that
Oh,
in
that'd be-
in the library, yes.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And I think on that note, the charging, I think it's so vital for students to have these, remember our mobile charging stations?
Mhm.
Because a lot of time you're working on a project on your computer and it dies. So I'm just gonna go on the model of Starbucks, that you have a chart like in your seat.
Mhm.
So you're working on something. I know we have free Wi-Fi, which is wonderful, but these, our charging stations will be so critical in all our sites.
Yes.
I mean, for the students, I think
Right,
that's something that's
Okay.
very needed. Thank you.
Any other questions? Mac, I would like to thank you for working so hard on keeping our buildings, our original buildings, so that they still have the flavor of College of the Desert. They desperately needed upgrades, they desperately needed modernizing, but you've worked very hard so that they still have the flair and the intent that we aren't just a group of buildings that aren't connected in any way. So I'm hoping that we continue with that. The Hill was considered for a while to tear it down.
Right.
And I'm very glad that was reversed, because that is, that feel, that is our culture, that, of this college. So I'm very happy that it'll be there, although I know it's not easy to keep it. And building standards when it was built and building standards now are very different. So my hat's off to you for making it work.
Well, my hat off to you all for allowing it to stay. I think it's important to keep the architectural
Yes,
fabric of the
absolutely.
campus
Right.
along with the materials, so as much as we can do. So maybe we look at some of the interior of the buildings that may not meet some of the programs today. They may meet other programs where we could utilize the building, so, but thank you.
And Vice President Howell, I appreciate you standing behind that, keeping that, because this board has been very vocal. And when I refer to the Board of Trustees, I see us as a continuous body, as one body that continues as our trustees flow in and out. But I believe it's been very consistent that we did not want to lose that. We didn't want to become just a group of buildings that happened to get plopped down, although that was the approach for a while. So I'm very happy that it's not.
You know, I look at this campus as a geode, you know, you kind of go through that hard outside or the outside and you really get to the jewel inside.
Yes.
That's how I look at this campus. Those buildings up on the plinth there, like the inside, it's the jewel of the campus, so,
Yes, that's a nice way to look at it.
yeah. Okay, any other questions?
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mac.
That was great. And Dr. Kidman, thank you for allowing us to have those study sessions at this time of the day so that a larger audience got to enjoy them. And those that are watching us on YouTube don't have to watch the whole meeting to get to those really, really exciting.
Thank you.
So, you have anything to add to your report?
Not till we get to new,
That's fine.
employees.
I was trying hard to not just jump in and cut you off. Okay, thank you, President Kinnaman, for allowing us that time. The next item on the agenda is public comments. Persons who wish to speak to the board on any item may do so at this time. There's a limit of 3 minutes per person and 15 minutes per topic unless further time is granted by the board. Your comments will be timed, and you'll be asked to stop speaking when the timer sounds. Please understand that the board welcomes your comments, but are not able to respond. Julia, have any requests been brought forward? Thank you. Dr. Kinnaman, introduction of staff.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First, I would like to introduce Tina Gonzalez, Administrative Assistant, Social Sciences and Arts. Tina has lived in the desert her whole life and has 2 daughters currently enrolled at College of the Desert. That's awesome. Nice to meet you, and thank you for being here. We're going to have everybody come up, and then we're going to do a picture afterwards.
What is the position, Trustee?
Administrative Assistant, Social Sciences and Arts. So
Terrific.
I'm sure Dr. Hall is very excited.
She looks very happy back there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Next, I'd like to introduce Luis Estrada, Manager, Maintenance and Operations. Luis has over 16 years of operations management experience. He has worked in city government, K-12, public schools, and USC.
Good.
He's active in the community and serves as chairman for the Redlands Traffic Commission. Luis is a Marine veteran and is married with 3 children, David, Mark, and Caroline.
Welcome.
Arturo Galavez, part-time custodian, Palm Desert and Indio campuses. Prior to joining COD, Arturo worked at the Boys and Girls Club in Indio. He studied sociology at Merced College, and in his free time, he enjoys spending time with family and friends. Next, I'd like to introduce Jim Melro, Senior Skilled Maintenance Worker. Jim was born in Indio and raised in Palm Desert. He worked as an electrician doing residential, commercial, and industrial work. He has 5 years of design production and 10 years of manufacturing management and maintenance. Just prior to working for COD, he was an art preparator at the Palm Springs Art Museum. Jim lives in Cathedral City and has 3 daughters. Next, I'd like to introduce Bianca Herrera, part-time custodian, Mechathermal. Bianca has been a substitute custodian since August 2016. She also previously studied psychology at COD and works as a substitute teacher for Coachella Unified School District. Outside of work, Bianca enjoys spending time with her son and husband. So I welcome all of you, and we are glad you're part of the family, and we want you to have a great holiday season. And if you have anything that you want to say,
We'd love to hear.
we'd
Please
love
say
to.
something.
Please, yeah, please introduce yourself.
But you don't
and
have
tell
to.
us. You're the tallest.
We get away with it whenever there's like 4 or 5. It works. We get.
Well, so far I really enjoy working here, and the people here have been very nice and welcoming, so I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well,
We're
thank
glad
for
to have
being
you.
here.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
Good.
First off, just want to say I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I just want to thank Mike Reich as well as Brandon from the main office for for bringing me on the team, and I'm glad to be here, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to thank everybody who's helped me in the transition. Everybody's been very great to me, and I am also happy to be on the College of the Desert team. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm very happy to be part of the Roadrunner family. I haven't been here my 2nd week. I'm in that transition period, and I'm very happy that we have a productive M&O department. I'm impressed by the level of services that they provide here in the Palm Desert community. Coming from a college environment, I'm very impressed, and I look forward to supporting the mission statement as well as the values of the College of the Desert to include professionalism and dedication to our diverse communities and the programs that we provide.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
We get to have a photo opportunity.
You have enough room? I'm not proud of you, am I? Are you okay?
We just moved the chairs.
Can
That's okay. I know, but deep down inside, you don't want me, but I don't feel hurt.
Are you gonna sit?
Yeah, I was picking on Joe.
You're messing around.
Yeah, you,
Okay, we're together?
are we close enough together?
No?
Now
There
we're
you go.
ready. All right, everybody.
Like I'm smoking something.
Thank you. All right, cheese. And our shoulders still very long. And COD.
COD.
And one more. COD.
COD.
Welcome.
Yay. That's very nice. We're glad to have you. So we welcome you to our Roadrunner family. Thank you. Next item is minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the regular minutes of November the 15th?
Yes, I'd like to add on in regards to the minutes, excused for that time I was,
So,
instead of saying absent, let's see what,
so if you.
I'd like,
Okay, and if you would, and then, as we all know that
Yeah.
there are procedures that we follow for
Right,
those things.
right, and we did do the written requests prior to that, so just want it on record on that, just so we could
Thank you.
note that, thank you.
Any other additions or corrections? Hearing none, I'm looking at my parliamentarian. They stand approved as corrected? Yes. Reports. First report's from Ascot.
I said you.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning, Madam Chair, trustees, Dr. Kinnaman, executives, and guests. The Ascot Student Senate has recently held its last meeting for the semester. During this meeting, we were visited by Dr. Martinez of Institutional Development, Mr. Calvin of Distance Education, and Aaron Velasquez, aka Aaron Balake, a student. Dr. Martinez was there to present the results from the smoking survey that created by the Student Senate for the students regarding whether or not the student body would like a smoke-free campus. And we thank Dr. Martinez and his colleagues for assisting us in the survey. Mr. Calvin was there to talk to us about distance education and requested our perspective on the subject. We provided answers to his questions, as did he to ours, and we hope to see him again soon. Whew. Sorry. I don't know why, I'm a little bit nervous. You know, you think it would get easier, but still the same.
You're doing a fine job.
Thanks. Finally, Aaron Velasquez, or Aaron Balake. We all call him that. Aaron is a part of TRIO DSPS and DSPS, and is a huge part of the TRIO Club. He's also on the new poster for the public safety. So in case you don't know him, he's the young man in the electric wheelchair. He visited us recently to let us know that he will be leaving us to Utah soon to be with family. Also during this meeting, he presented us with gift cards to Starbucks and cards, as he always does for the past 3 years since I've started in the Student Senate at least. He's probably done it before that. He's a really nice guy. Get to know him. He's awesome. And he has been a very great asset to the Ascot family this whole time that I've been here. Ever since I've been here, he has been in every event, either participating or assisting, and he doesn't ask for anything in return. I just want to take this moment to recognize him because he is leaving, I believe, tomorrow to Utah. And he's been a tremendous help to the Ascot family, to me, keeping my sanity during this whole semester. And Aaron Velasquez has been a great student, and we thank him for being a part of our College of the Desert family. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job, Isaiah, and it's always nice to hear a thank you to someone that's helped you along. And so, thank you. Cal-
Isaiah, just to say that there's a card in the front for you. If you saw it, yeah.
Good. Yeah. Don't spend it all in the same place.
Promises. Thank you.
Thank you.
California School Employees Association.
Good morning, Board of Trustees, administration, faculty, staff, students, and esteemed guests. CSEA Chapter 407 Holiday Celebration. Our holiday celebration was a huge success. Thank you to Bonnie Russell, Wanda de Hoyos, Mary Lisi, Brian Amsler, Jose Alvarez, and so many other volunteers for making it a great event. Thank you also to Trustee Wilson, sitting over in a different place now, Trustee Yant, and for Dr. Kinnaman for joining us for our most attended celebration yet. 150.
Whoa.
This room, we need new, bigger places, right? Newly elected chapter CSA officers. Also yesterday, we the members of Chapter 407 elected Keith Prouty II as our chapter president. Bonnie Russell was re-elected as our third vice president, and Mary Lisi was elected as communications officer. I continue on our executive board as past chapter president. CSA offers begin their 3-year terms on January 1st. Board officers. Thank you to Trustee Aurora Wilson for your year of service and leadership as board chairwoman. CSEA and our classified bargaining unit appreciate your passion and drive as you have advocated, and I'm sure you will continue to, for your constituents and the students of the entire Coachella Valley. Well done.
Thank you.
We look forward to the leadership of Trustee Becky Brockton as our new board chairwoman, and that of all of our trustees in your respective roles. Thank you. CSCA negotiations update. CSCA and our members thank our Board of Trustees for your support of classified staff and for sharing the growth. And we also thank Dr. Kinnaman for your leadership in negotiations. Our members directed CSCA negotiations team to hold a firm stance despite short-term impact. The bargaining unit, however, is now pleased with the compromise that has been reached. Thank you to the negotiations team, including Beth Caskey, our labor relations representative, as well as to Mary Lisi, Lily Casas, and our new team member, Keith Prouty II. Thank you also to our field director, Denise Jensen, for expediting the mandatory CSA policy 610 review that must precede our mandatory 5-day notice of ratification to all CSA Chapter 407 members. As chair of the CSA negotiations team, I will present the tentative agreements for ratification this coming Tuesday. Thank you for the district for approving release time for this special ratification meeting. We will also present for ratification a settlement agreement regarding a reduction in hours of a vacant position in CTE. Thank you to Dr. Ralston for working with CSE on this settlement. I'm also happy to report that we have reached a settlement on a long pending grievance related the topic of working out of class. We were scheduled to attend arbitration in late January with the selected arbitrator. We appreciate that she was willing to waive her fee as we have reached a settlement. Ratification for this topic will be in the following January, again because of our 610 policy. We still have many things to take a look at, but we're very thankful that we're able to complete the contract negotiations, and of course, we hope that we never consider it final until it's approved by the board and ratified by the chapter. We hope that you will consider approving our tentative agreements. we have various different issues that still need to be addressed. The topic of bilingual staff, as a past practice, they have been paid 5% over their regular pay. We have proposed an MOU to clarify that and put that into writing. It also affects specific people. We've been in discussions with HR regarding the bursar's office. We are, of course, a Hispanic serving institution. We have folks there that have documented using significant amount of the Spanish skills, and so we are hopeful to resolve that in the near future and get them their pay for working out of class. We also have some pending grievances that we would like to look at related to recruitment, and then some things about holiday pay. The Ed Code has some very interesting language that talks about for our 9 folks, and we'll be taking a look at that. And one of the hopes that I hope to do as I have a little more time as past president now is to take a look at the Ed Code. There are protections that the Ed Code has for K-12 and not for community college. And so there are many things to do. If I can have just a little bit more, I wanted to thank you all. I have learned so many things from an administration and from our trustees during my 6 years, my 2 terms of 3 years each. And I wanted to thank you for all that I've learned from your leadership, from your wisdom, and from all the sacrifices that you make to serve the constituents of this valley and our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauro.
Thank you, Lauro.
College of the Desert Adjunct Association.
Laurel, did you get your card?
So I don't forget too.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pardon me. I apologize for not providing you with a written report in advance, but the reason why I did not was because I wanted to update you on our negotiations, and we only met yesterday, so there wasn't time for me to write anything and submit it to Julia. Overall, I would say that things are progressing slowly, but we are making progress, and I want to thank the district and the administration for their creative solution on a healthcare option for us that we're going to be investigating this coming year to see if that's feasible. We were very pleased to see that. The only outstanding issue that remains is obviously compensation, and that's an important one. And I do appreciate that the district has made some movement on their original proposal, and we thank them for that. But we still have a long way to go before we come to an agreement on that. But we will be looking again at parity with another task force consisting of administrators and adjunct faculty so that we can get a definition that everybody agrees on. So I'm confident that when we do that, we will finally have a resolution. So I'm optimistic. I did want to tell you about 2 other things. Is Max still here? Did he leave? You know, I hope you all have an opportunity to look at the new adjunct faculty workroom. I can't tell you how pleased we are with it. It's a beautiful facility. It's one that's been lacking on this campus for many years, and it's everything we wanted and more, and it's just really pretty. I want to thank Lisa Howell for her efforts, and I want to thank Mac McGinnis and his team. Not only do we have a beautiful space that we all are just delighted with, but I got to tell you, working with Mac's team is just a joy. His people are so accommodating and so helpful and so responsive, and they never get cranky with our demands. Some of us can be a little demanding. So, anyway, it's a gorgeous. I won't name any names.
Really?
God, this is going out live, isn't it? So, we're very pleased with that and very appreciative. One other thing I want to mention is that you all are aware that we have the Solutions Kiosk program for our students, which 2 adjuncts are coordinating, Robert Holmes, who couldn't be here today, and Aubrey Weston. And Robert gave me some figures for the year and for the semester. The semester that just concluded, they took in a revenue of $72,000. Now, if you've never seen this facility, it's a tiny little cubbyhole of a place. It looks like a phone booth, practically. And for them to bring in that much revenue is really amazing. 16 students are running this operation. And so last semester, the semester just concluding, was $72,000. For the calendar year, they took in over $120,000. We don't know yet what the profits are for this semester, but because we have to go through an audit, but it's estimated to be around 10,000. And the Indio kiosk will be opening up in the spring, and 2 more adjuncts will be coordinating that effort. And so it's amazing. I think you know that this operation is totally self-funded. It gets no money from the district. So this is the adjuncts who are paid and everything, all of the costs are covered by the money that comes in, and they still make a profit. So it's a really successful enterprise, and we have to give our students a lot of credit for doing that. And they're learning a lot about retail management in the process. So that's the good news that I have for you, and hope everybody has a wonderful holiday and enjoys the break, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
And thank you for this.
Thank you so much. College of the Desert Faculty Association, and Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you, Denise, that's so sweet. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
What are little pops? What are little pops?
Thank you.
Too nice.
I tried to buy them yesterday. I couldn't find them.
We look forward to seeing.
I'm sure they're around. I just have to go a few more places. Doves decided he wants to burn the whole.
Well, good morning, everyone. On behalf of the faculty, we hope you enjoy your little gift from See's Candy, which came from our local Desert Arc organization working on behalf of individuals with disabilities. So this is a win-win, and you should feel no guilt whatsoever as you chow down on chocolates. Okay? Enjoy. And happy holidays to you and your family. This semester, actually, not just this semester, but just since last month, we were able to grant 2 student emergency fund applications. We still have students who sometimes are living in their cars, by the way, and we're deeply grateful to have mechanisms by which we can maybe help a little bit. So thanks to the faculty for their generosity, and it's a pleasure to work with the foundation and their quick processing and response through the Student Emergency Fund. College of the Desert Faculty Association concluded bargaining on November 30th after 13 sessions. We will have a 3-year contract, 2017 to 2020, with reopeners on health, compensation, and 1 additional article each of those years. The faculty have ratified our contract, which required 2/3 of the membership approval by our bylaws. We have a high approval rating. We are pleased to announce that it is on your board agenda for your approval, and we do recommend that, please. The contract includes the following. There is a salary restructure to equalize each step in column increase, so we're squaring our salary structure at 4.25. There's a 2% off-schedule bonus of new salary for all unit members employed as of September 1, 2017. There's $18,000 annual district contribution for health and welfare benefits. It's an ongoing increase of $1,200 per year and an additional $1,200 for the 2017-18 plan year, which can be used as a portion of the premium. If your premium is less than the $1,600 per month, the additional funds can be designated to a 403B, a 457 retirement fund taken as cash. It's at each person's discretion. We have the ability to cash out load banking at the overload rate in effect when the withdrawal is requested. Non-teaching faculty may bank release time without having to teach an additional class. We have a decrease for our ESLN faculty student contact time, which is significant. We now have 3 ESLN faculty, and the nature of their work was such that the number of hours needed to satisfy their contract load was significant, and this provides much needed relief. There is COD tuition reimbursement for dependents of the faculty. There is conversion of cooperative work experience to SIUs and the ability to load bank this work. There's an improvement of leaves language for parental leave and long-term leave, starting the process, and we're also starting the process of catastrophic leave bank. Over the years, it's been my 20-year personal experience at COD that this is very needed. We have worked together on a case-by-case basis, but it is good that we're looking in the direction of a catastrophic leave bank. Temporary faculty will be evaluated under the tenure evaluation process after the completion of 4 years of continuous full-time service. There's clarification on the evaluation timelines and processes, and the evaluation of online classes, which have some distinctive features different than face-to-face classes. Future hires in nursing will be able to use clinical experience as teaching experience for initial placement on the schedule, which should help in the hiring in our nursing department. The bargaining team will take a much-needed break, and we will be prepared to bargain 2018-2019 in the spring as agreed upon. New cycle. Health and welfare. The committee members met for an additional 10 hours to interview brokers that had responded to an RFP. The committee reached consensus on a recommendation of a new broker. We look forward to a new cycle of collaboration on this important aspect of our shared benefits at College of the Desert. One last little thing. Is that all right? Thank you. CTA staff person Marianne Reynolds and CTA attorney and myself met with the district in Glendale this last week for a mediation hearing related to a PERB. We made a settlement proposal to the district, and we all agreed congenially to reconvene in person in January. We certainly hope to settle and avoid a hearing. Again, we wish everyone a wonderful holiday season, and we look forward to working together in the new year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the card.
Academic Senate, please.
All right, good morning, everyone. As this semester is coming to a close, I certainly want to thank everybody in this room, as well as all the faculty that are around for the support they've provided me as Academic Senate President. I would also like to take this opportunity to wish everybody a happy and healthy holiday season. And while I've had a busy time and we've been doing a lot of stuff that some of it's on the agenda for your approval and everything, I want to just take this opportunity to highlight some of the things that our faculty are involved with. Quite a wide spectrum of activities. And I didn't get it in my actual written report, but I want to make sure I get out first a thank you to Fred San Giorgio for heading up the Foster Youth Toy Drive. I think that's great. He does it every year. And again, all the people who've made donations to that. So starting off, Wendy Heinrich Sanders has volunteered to teach a 2-week course on serving children with special needs in Ethiopia for master's level students. Is that one me? No? I heard music. Sorry about that. Anna Hernandez would like to share that for the first time, the Work Experience Office received an enrollment of over 250 students. Previously, they generally dealt with about 110 to 120. Jim Waddell notified me that CBS Local News 2 ran a story on his class, Philosophy 13, Perspectives on Death and Dying. This is actually just past Monday. Ruth Nolan, she's pretty busy it looks like, has been asked to speak at a panel presentation focusing on the literature and writers of suicide loss in the 2018 Associated Writers Program Conference in Tampa, Florida next March. She will join a panel of esteemed authors who published books on suicide loss, including Linda Gray Sexton, daughter of poet Anne Sexton. Ruth will be discussing her acclaimed poetry book, Ruby Mountain, published by Finishing Line Press in 2016 as part of the panel. Arlette Poland has a growing international following for a podcast started last year, the title which is Listen Within, Uncover Your Greatness Now. You can find that at www.listenwithin.org in the genre of motivational and inspirational. Leslie Taft, our fencing coach, was nominated for and received the U.S. Fencing Association Spirit of Sport Award. Elle Weatherup was happy to report that her book, Disability and Academic Exclusion, Voicing the Student Body, was published in August of this year by Lexington Books. Sarah Gaetti will be doing a radio show airing in the spring called Apple a Day. It will educate COD community about wellness support programs on campus that support health and wellness activities and some of our degrees. Janet Miller and Paul McKinley came up with a solution to a problem with a little research on the internet. They teach apparently a tap dancing class, and a COD student with mobility issues came and was interested in the class, and they, with doing a little bit of research, they found that somebody has adapted that to basically using taps on gloves, and they will teach the tap dancing by hand. So I thought that was kind of an interesting solution. And Leif Jordan provided me just with a story, an interesting story, and it's kind of typical Leif Jordan, but he ran into a former student, and she came up to him, "I'm sorry to bother you, but I just want to tell you that your class has changed my life. I never thought I could do math. I never thought I'd be successful in college. But after having you as a teacher," this is a quote from the student basically, "I have been able to graduate, get a great new job, and raise my kids at a much higher standard of living. Thank you, Dr. Jordan." Then the kids came up to him and gave him a really big hug, and Leif said, quote, I will see you kids in my class in a few years. So it looks like he got him around for a little bit longer. And his final comment in his email when he gave me this information, he says, "That's what I call a genuine student learning outcome."
Right.
Lastly, I'll report very quickly, it's going to cut down on me here. I want to report that I'll be directing the 7th annual Winternship program at College of the Desert in January, partnering with Cal State San Bernardino. There will be 16 students participating, and the final presentation will be January 26th from 3 to 5, and everybody's invited if you want to come and hear what the students did. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
College of the Desert Foundation.
Yes, I am pleased to report that Peter Sturgeon is on a well-deserved vacation in Maui.
Wow, lucky
And
Peter.
Well-deserved.
we had a foundation meeting just this past week, I believe, about a week ago, where we shared the announcement of Dr. John Mosier that'll be joining us at College of the Desert as the executive director of the foundation, and also thanked Peter for his leadership and his commitment to continuing to do development work for the COD Foundation. And both Peter and John are working with Lisa, and they will be working on an advancement model that they've been tasked with from the task force recommendations, and so I look forward to seeing the outcome of their work. So, thank you.
When will Dr. Mosier be on board?
Dr. Mosier is on board, and he has financials and bylaws and all types of information that he is reviewing right now.
Excellent.
As he transitions from Ohio. His feet will be on the ground here the middle of January, and then he anticipates his wife joining in about 8 months. And we figured that when we were discussing it. I mean, she arrives around August from Ohio, so we may want to rethink that timing because of the 120-some degree
Perhaps,
temperature
yes.
introduction.
On the other hand, if you'll text him regularly about what the temperature is here, maybe with a nice picture
Actually,
now,
I did that the
think we
other.
may see him before January.
I did that the other night. I was at an event. It was a holiday event outside, and sent him a picture of it, and he sent me back one of a snowstorm on a street that had holiday lights up and down it, and so it was two extremes.
Yes, indeed. Well, we'll be happy to have him. And I'm very glad that Peter has a break because he's really filled in and been giving us great
Yes.
leadership for that time, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Governing board reports, we're at 11:45, so we have time for some of us. So let's begin with our student trustee.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I want to hear about the finals and.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, can't even remember what I did last month, so.
That's okay.
Because of that. I just want to congratulate you for being the new chair now, and I'm glad to be sitting next to Aurora Wilson now. I'm happy to
She
have many
kicks.
conversations during the meeting. I'm just kidding, but this month has been very short for me. I'll be honest, I don't really remember a lot because it was finals, and so I'll be honest, finals is one of the toughest weeks. You know, you spend a lot of time studying, sleepless nights, and then after that you forget everything. So, but it's a good.
So true.
And then after that, you have nothing to do because you know you spend most of your time studying. But it's still, I think it's beneficial. So I went to GA, which is General Assembly, and that's where all the students meet up and we vote on resolutions. And this year was very interesting. It was 18 resolutions for, usually they have 50, but this time they had about 18. You know, it still took us a while to vote on the resolutions, but I can still say, even though it was interesting, that I always enjoy going to General Assembly because I feel like I always learn something new. And I get ideas from different colleges, different student boards, and how to, you know, better our own student government and how to just apply these things that I learned at General Assembly to here at College of the Desert. And I think one of the biggest things that we're talking about is the things that we learned. We don't just want to keep it to ourselves. We want to hope to make a presentation for the students and have like a fair. And we've been working with Dr. Neary, with Andy, the chair, the Region 9 representative, and we really want to make this happen. That way, the students know that they have, you know, their 9+1 rights, how to be an activist nowadays, because it's very important to be an activist, and just know Robert's Rule of Order, things that are beneficial to the student body. So we're planning on doing that. Other than that, let's see what else. We had the smoking survey that Isaiah mentioned. It was very successful. We had about 500 students answer the survey, which was, to me, I thought it would be less because usually, like our students, I don't know whether it's because we've been sending out a lot of surveys during last month that they get, you know, they get tired of surveys. But I'm still glad that we were able to get quite a few students.
Do we have results?
Yes, we do. The smoking survey, I don't have them with me. I have to get them from Dr. Martinez. We're still finalizing that, but hopefully when we have our resolution, make our own resolution and we prepare everything, we could show the statistics. All I know that it's in favor of having a free smoke-free campus. My bad. And I happy to see that the students want it as much as the student government wanted it. So other than that, we are still trying to, I say the student body is trying to have, be very aligned to what we're trying to do. So have like a master plan of what we're trying to do for the next semester. And I think that's a great idea. I think rather than just trying to add things last minute, trying to do things last minute, that we focus on doing having a master plan, trying to see what we can accomplish in the next semester, and see how successful we are, and hopefully leave it up to the next student government board next year. So that's my report.
Did a great job, thank you. Trustee Wilson?
Yes, thank you. And congratulations, Madam Chair. Look forward to working with you this new coming year.
You're dancing over the table to be out of the shop.
It's now up to Trustee Stefan to kick you under the table and elbow you, as you did me, so,
As
and,
you did me. She's really good at that.
And again, would like to thank Carlos for your help this year in training me. So I really appreciate that. And many thanks to Michael for your hard work this year. Look, we've got a brand new system, thanks to you, a much safer one for folks. So thank you for doing that and keeping me in line. And many thanks to Julia and Cy for all your patience with me and working with me, and particularly with President Kinnaman. Thank you so much, sir. You were very patient. What an experience this year, representing the Board of Trustees at various events, and particularly, as Dr. Kinnaman just mentioned, participating on the search committee for the Foundation Executive Director. I guarantee you, you are really going to like Dr. Moser. He is going to bring something brand new to College of the Desert, and between he and Peter Sturgeon and the rest of the crew there at the foundation, watch out, Coachella Valley, because we're going to be bringing in something new. So congratulations, and look forward to him starting soon. I will not be here for this afternoon session. I have some business out of town, but I have talked with the chair with regard to the agenda items for this afternoon. And that's pretty much it. I would like to wish everyone the happiest of holiday seasons. Very Merry Christmas to all. And let's come back united as we continue our journey in 2018. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Sanchez Fulton?
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for being chair and serving in that position, Trustee Wilson, and looking forward to hearing you as chair, Trustee Broughton. So I want to wish at this time the real joys of this holiday season, and I want to thank our faculty and staff for their time, for our students. But also at this time, I want to mention the people, the homeless, the couch surfing students that we have. We have a lot of nonprofits out in the Coachella Valley that I have to kind of, our homeless population is something that I'm working on. So the Well of the Desert, and I just kind of want to mention, and also the Galilee Center. So just to mention a couple of these nonprofits that do need your volunteerism and your toys. And I want to give a big shout out to Fred for putting on the program for the foster youth. It gets cold at night, so a lot of our homeless don't have blankets. So just kind of want to, if you have extra blankets, to please give to the Well of the Desert in Palm Springs for our homeless population. There are a lot of families out there during this time. So this month has been very, very busy. Attended the Academic Angels alongside Trustee Wilson on December 6th. It was a very well attended event. A lot of, Laura Silva, she was our keynote speaker. It was wonderful to hear a student that attended and give her testimony on the great work that the Academic Angels do, the scholarships that are needed at this time. As well. So I want to give a big shout out to the president and the people involved with the Academic Angels. Want to also inform all the students that are listening about, I think we're having we know the College of the Desert scholarships are open. Is that correct, Dr. Kinnaman? Our scholarship is?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so applications are due now, because it's really important that it's still needed at this time. A lot of us don't understand that it's hard. You know, our students are working 2 or 3 jobs and they still can't make it. So please fill out your scholarships of the College of the Desert. Attended a meeting with the Speaker of California, Anthony Rendon, Speaker of the House of the State Legislative. spoke on a couple of issues in regards to higher education, especially the needed resources at the community college level. So that was quite interesting and advocating for the budget that's going to be coming in, and a pleasure to meet our Speaker of the House, Anthony Rendon. Attended alongside Trustee Stefan, the open house for Supervisor Manuel Perez. It was a wonderful event that we both attended. I thought it was very interesting, and the concern for the higher education, that's very good, and partnering. Met with Superintendent Scott Bailey. It was wonderful to meet with our partners, our K through 12, and the great partnerships that are going on. I believe Zarel Becker spoke. I just want to give her some kudos on the workforce development summit that she spoke at. I thought that was wonderful to have these partnerships that we're working, and College of the Desert is out in the community and serving the community and the people of the Coachella Valley. Attended the RDA Assessor Agency, DHS, and Indio Assessors meeting, and attended the first financing corporation meeting last week, so that was quite interesting. I believe they meet, once a year? Is that right, Lisa? Once a year, so that was first meeting that I attended, and I will give a report on what we discussed in our next meeting in January. Also attended, I want to say congratulations to the new City Council women of Palm Springs, Christy and Lisa Middleton. It was wonderful to go and see great leadership in the city of Palm Springs. And also Ginny Fotes, 25 years of, maybe longer, service. Being an elected official, a lot of people take us for granted, but they have dedicated their lives in public service and serving their community. So attended that event last week. I'm looking forward to attend next week's Public Safety Academy ceremony and nurse pinning ceremony. And I just want to mention some great news. We just hired the police chief. Oh, I know it's time's up, but I just want to kind of inform everyone that the Desert Hot Springs Chief of Police just hired one of our public safety students. So they're going to be serving in our police force in Desert Hot Springs. So I'm looking forward to attending their swearing in ceremony at the next City Council of Desert Hot Springs. So we're these great programs that we have is indeed creating jobs for our Coachella Valley. So I want to give that. I would look forward to attending the Duroville. I don't know for people who know about this. It's a mobile park community out in Mecca. Promotoras Unidos. It's a program out in the trailer parks. They're going to be we're going to be giving out some toys out in the Mecca Thermal this Sunday. It's a very, just a community that does need our help. So that's another event where I'm looking forward to attend, and looking forward to attend the Assemblyman Eduardo Garcia's open house. And I'm just kind of mentioning it. So if anyone wants to attend, December 19th from 5 to 9 at the office. Most importantly, it was wonderful, you guys, our food pantry. That's one of the projects run by our students. And I just want to thank, again, Jose Aguirre, everyone in the Student Life program. I got there early. There was a standing line of students wanting to get food. They were waiting. So the need is great in regards to that. So I'm really pleased with our Rock Out Hunger program that we have, and I want to thank KCOD and all the student volunteers and staff that were there. It was very good again, and look forward to attending as I normally do every month to that. They were very grateful, got to talk to a lot of the people, and they just love it. We need that. It's needed out right now. And also want to thank again Student Life Director Joseph Aguirre for bringing our students to the tram last Friday. That was wonderful. It was the first ever that they went out there, and I just want to thank all the staff that came along with them. I thought it was a great opportunity to do that, and I look forward to the yoga I heard. So that they have Tuesdays and Thursdays. So a lot of things are going on our campus, and I just want to wish everyone a blessed and a very warmest, sincerest Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Look forward to seeing everyone next year. Have a safe and wonderful vacation, everyone. Much needed rest. Thank you.
This is a perfect time for us to recess to closed session, so if there are no objections from the board, I thank you, and we'll reconvene at 1:30.
You did that perfect.
Yes, I did. Have the presentation, as well as plan ourselves so that we don't have somebody that drives a long way and then has to sit forever for their opportunity. Also, no one comes at 9:30 in the morning to see a presentation that we know is not really scheduled till 1:30. So if I have no objections, we will go to that. And Dr.
Scheduled for 1:45.
For 1:45, so I should sit here and talk for
I don't know.
5
I
minutes?
think you can go ahead.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
just wanted to give you a bad time.
Yeah, I know. And you're so good at it, so.
Unless Trustee Stefan can keep her remarks within 5 minutes.
Well, no, that never happened. Actually,
It's Fred's
it's
turn.
Fred's turn, and we know that.
Oh.
We know he's long-winded.
No, I'm not. Actually, I'm very brief.
President Kinnaman, are we ready for that presentation?
I think that we would be fine. And, John, do you want to come forward and make the introductions? And I see you are joyful and gleeful and look like you would like to do that.
So I'm assuming we're talking about the foundation audit?
We are.
That would help, I guess.
Yeah, we have Mr. Brandon Harrison from Bavernick, Trine and Day here. He's an audit, the partner who oversees both the district's audit, but now as well as the foundation's audit. And he has he's here to present the foundation's audit to you today.
Thank you. That's part of the fun of it, John, is you get to see what's happening as it unfolds here.
Good afternoon. Oh, I thank you so much for letting me go. Come on, right off the bat.
We'll expect a credit
Oh,
on our bill.
man, I'm telling you. I actually have sat through 6 board meetings this week, so this is really good. Thank you. I really do appreciate
They
it.
were all exciting, weren't they?
I'm so appreciative. So I will make this kind of quick and easy, but I will go through it. This is the foundation audit that I will be presenting to you.
Oh, it's in the
I'm
back.
going to go through this pretty quick. I think everyone has a copy of the report.
It's in the back?
In the back. Very back.
It's like number 2.
Number 2 in the back.
And I promise I won't go through page by page either. But I am going to start on page 1. So what page 1 is this is the independent auditor's report. So what we like to tell the board is that the financial statements are the financial statements of the district. What an auditor does is we give you an opinion over the financial statements, and that's what this page represents. This page represents our opinion over your financial statements, and the opinion that you received this year was considered an unmodified opinion. An unmodified opinion is the best opinion you can receive, so that means the foundation's financial statements were free of material misstatements, and we did not have any material adjustments or significant enough that we believe that needed to be communicated with the board. I'll jump from page 1. I'm going to keep moving through pretty quickly, and I'm going to go to page 3. Page 3 is what we call the statement of financial position. This is a good report. This is a good statement where it shows you the assets and the liabilities of the foundation. And what you can see that really stands out is that you have about the foundation has about $31 million in net financial position. That means their investments less their liabilities and any long-term liabilities that they have as well. They have about unrestricted resources of $2 million, and then about 28 or $29 million in restricted resources, which are temporary or permanently restricted. That's donor-related activities. If you move from there to page 4, you'll see the statement of activities. The statement of activities breaks out the revenues and the expenses of the foundation. You'll see the one item that stands out is the contributions to the foundation. You see about $1.6 million the foundation was able to receive from outside donors. This is actually up from the $600,000 that they had in the prior year. Then you go down about mid-page, you'll see about $2.1 million related to program expenses. This is always a good number to look at to see how much is actually going directly into the foundation's mission. So this is going to be scholarships and college support expenditures here. Then you'll go through the next couple pages, and what you see are notes to the financial statements. The notes basically describe in detail the information from the statement of net position and the statement of revenues and expenses, kind of give you some detailed information, what makes up your payables.
I'm sorry, what page are you on for the notes? Thank you.
For the notes, I'm sorry. The notes to the financial statements will start about page 7.
Thank you. I was following you, then you lost me.
And then I lost you, I'm sorry. So page 7 is going to give you the notes to the financial statement. It talks about the organization itself, talks about what type of public support it has. And then throughout the pages, you'll see what makes up the restricted assets, temporary restricted assets as well. So you'll see that some of them are related to foundation scholarship. That's primarily what it is, or various donor-related restrictions. From there, you can go through there and you'll see what type of investments the foundation has as well. That's going to be on page 12. There's various different items that you'll see that make up about $26 million in investments right now. So we do not have anything to report as in any significant findings or information that needs to be presented to the board. We did not have any difficulties with management, and we did not have any difficulties performing the audit, which is actually a requirement that we have to report to you if we have any difficulties with management. We felt that we had free access to all the information. They were very forthcoming with all the information as well. This is our first year. They did go out to RFP last year, which is responsible for proposal, and we proposed on it. This was our first year of the audit. Next year we think it's going to go a little smoother, but it's always a little bit harder in the first year. But we got through it, and we're very pleased with Foundation's management, and it was a very, very good pleasure to work with them this year.
Excellent. Are there any questions? Yes, Fred.
Maybe Vice President Howell can answer this question. Does the foundation have an investment policy?
They do.
They do.
They do, and they just revised it last year. And in fact, the financial committee, we just went out for an RFP, and we've chosen new investment managers. And in fact, my phone call earlier today was just directing some of those investments.
All right.
So with the help of Kiki in the audience there.
So there,
yes,
there's an accepted
very,
investment.
very. It's been reviewed and updated and spot on.
Okay, I have a question on the 2 million unrestricted monies. You said, is that correct? I just want to make sure that that's clear.
What
You
page?
said
I'm sorry.
It was just one of your numbers. You
Oh,
mentioned
okay.
the 2 million.
Sorry.
Some,
So you,
on page 4.
on
Page
page
4?
3 or 4?
I believe.
Either one.
Three.
Three.
So when I see your definition, so could you clarify with that money, what did they do last? I just kind of want to know, because I have concerns when I see unrestricted or restricted funding.
So
What
with
could
that-
that be utilized for the public to know and et cetera?
So I'll talk through all the different ones. Permanently restricted is going to be from donors that permanently restrict the corpus of the donation. So if they gave you $1 million, that means $1 million has to stay permanently within the foundation. But the earnings on investment will be allocated across temporary restricted and unrestricted. So there are a piece of the earnings that are allocated across the 3 different ones. Temporarily restricted means it could be from a time lapse. It says that over 2 years you have to spend this money, or you can only spend it on a certain item. So it can only be a scholarship to, let's say, the science department. So that's going to be your temporarily restricted. Your unrestricted is going to be basically used for cash flow, for expenditures, for program expenditures, for fundraising expenditures. You'll see that come out of your unrestricted net position. Did that kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
Any other questions? I'm glad to hear that you found that the information was accessible, transparent, that you didn't have any difficulties there. That's important. We've had some problems in the past, not that anything was hidden, but simply in the way it was presented. And through recommendations from our vice president, from various audits, then I believe that we've created a way that makes that information very easy to read, and I'm happy to hear that.
And I can say from the first time we took over this audit this year, they communicated with us directly. If anything came up, we always had constant communication. If anything that they had, any guidance that they were looking for, they did communicate with us forthcoming.
Great.
Well,
No other questions? Thank you so much for your time, and I'm glad that we could let you come and present and go on with your life.
I do appreciate that. Have happy holidays, and I'll see you next month.
Okay,
Happy
happy holidays.
Thank
See
you.
how exciting our meeting was?
Right, it was perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Exactly. Okay. That worked out so well. Perfect, thank you so much. Back to our reports. Governing Board, Trustee Young.
Thank you. To go back to a little history, as we were brief in our reports last month, we do want to acknowledge that members of the board were at the CVAP meeting earlier,
Yeah.
2 months ago. And perhaps the thing I would want to mention is that President Kinnaman's presentation was well-received. And if anything, I told him that there were so many good things he talked about, it was almost overkill. You know, I don't know how people could remember all those good things, so.
Other people remembered, I didn't.
Oh.
Well, yeah, the people that were in attendance, I'm sure they didn't, and thank goodness we've got a lot of people on staff that remember all the things that are going on and can collect them, because it was overwhelming.
It was overwhelming. It was a good report.
Thank
This week, the Bond Oversight Committee had its quarterly meeting, and I would say that, would you agree that there is a very involved committee at present?
I would absolutely agree.
So I think they are there to do their job.
We're so lucky to have them.
Yes. And Mac, of course, and Lisa do a wonderful job presenting to them. As I mentioned last month, I've been attending some ongoing conferences on the future of textbook publishing with librarians, bookstores, authors, and publishers. And it's really been eye-opening to see how the point has come where changes are really here to stay. And the textbooks may be a thing of the past as the changes now are here and are becoming practical. Paper textbooks are just so expensive for students that the alternatives are necessary, and they're coming. I think some of the alternatives are not as good as others. Pearson, one of the largest textbook publishing companies, has experimented this past year with digital-only textbooks. There are no print copies, just digital only. And they did that in sociology. And the feedback was very positive, so they are looking at extending that to other disciplines. The point being, though, with only digital, there is the potential of selling only one digital copy to a particular college, so that the library might buy a single copy at a substantial cost and then provide that to students. So there are so
Very
many,
interesting. Very interesting.
so many new models that could happen. And that one I find very interesting, that the college would, in a sense, purchase the right to the digital book, and the library would then provide it to students, which might be some interesting changes in libraries, but also would have some impact on the traditional role and income of college bookstores. You know, another trend that is coming, although I personally do not like that trend, is open source publishing. And what open source publishing basically means is copyright-free publishing, in which users can alter the information as they use it. That just bothers me as someone from the academic perspective, that material can exist without copyright that can be so freely altered. But there are some people that are strongly advocating open source publishing, and most of those folks are in the community college world. So can't say that I'm a big advocate of open source publishing. I'm more an advocate for the digital only route. These meetings will continue for the next few months. I'll be happy to report other things that are happening. But the future is changing for libraries and bookstores. The institution that will probably continue to be secure are publishers. They're just trying to figure out a way to continue to exist in a changing marketplace. Thank you.
Very interesting, thank you. Bonnie? Your turn.
Thank you. Okay, first off, I'd like to start out by wishing everybody a happy holidays. And I don't know why Joel took off his happy holiday tie. I thought it was so intellectual, define good. But anyhow, I'd really like to thank Aurora for her leadership this last year and congratulate Becky. And I know you're going to have sore shins again, and I apologize in advance. And Joel, please remember, it is Becky that is the chair. Okay. Thank you. Last week, everybody I know is fascinated by my beautiful walker here. I never say it's beautiful because I'd like to get rid of it, won't we all? But last week, I had the opportunity to give away bikes to the fourth graders in the Valley that had been recommended by their teachers as being excellent students and good in citizenship and trying really, really hard. Students that would otherwise not have an opportunity to have a bike. For many of them, I think they're the first in their family to ever receive a bicycle because the whole family comes out and you see the whole family looking at this thing, and it's like, you know, it's the most wonderful thing in the whole world, which it is. And I had Joel bring me boxes and boxes of COD pencils, and I was able to give out 3 giant boxes, plus I had opened the 4th box for a couple more kids that came late. So it was a wonderful day, and I had decorated my walker because I was wearing one of my ugly sweaters and dressed like an elf with the ears and all the whole 9 yards. And I thought, ooh, the walker would be terrible. I don't know. Joel will probably go public with it. But that's okay. And Joel told me, please don't tell them where you're from. So when people asked, I said, well, I was told to tell you I'm not from COD.
Oh my God. Good for you.
So I don't think they figured it out, Joel. You're safe. Your secret is safe. You have a crazy board member. But that brings me to what I really wanted to talk to you about today, because over this past year, I know that sometimes when we come to the board meetings, all of us up here think, oh my gosh, everybody's saying such negative things. And yet we hear such wonderful things that are going on about our college. And I know we're doing wonderful work because we passed the accreditation. We received several awards. We did a lot of things that were really outstanding. We get positive reports from the president. And things are going really well, and I come on campus and the students seem happy and they're going to classes, and we have more students than ever before, and we're filling up all those class loads, and I don't get as many people in the community coming up to me and saying, my student can't get a class. And I think every year I give you guys, the community here, the leadership team, $1 million bar. And this year I had to hunt high and low. But I thought I'd follow the example of our president and try to find something just a little bit more. I can't really give you $1 billion because I'm not the president. But I was able to find $1 billion candy bars. So just know that it comes from the heart. Every day, everyone here at COD and in the community show the spirit of the season. You show that throughout the year. You always give of the heart. The reports that everybody gave today showed that, you know, and it was all the wonderful things that they do day to day. They don't think anything about it. They just do it. And that's what our college is about. That's what I always take home at the end of the day. And I'm so thankful that I'm just a little part of that. And thankful for everything that everybody does throughout the year. And if I had $1 billion to give each and every person here, I would. So just know that that candy bar is a little representation, and I wish I had saved one so that I could cut out the picture and frame it and say, there's my first $1 billion. So know that it came from the heart, and thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Happy holidays.
Yes, am celebrating Hanukkah, and we'll then celebrate Christmas, so, I have a conflicted holiday season, it's extended. So, December is always a fun, exhausting month. On a more thoughtful note, I want to thank Aurora, and I tried to this morning so that she understood how much we appreciated all the work she put into being the chair last year. She did an excellent job, and I appreciate all the effort that goes into that. My thoughts for the day go around students as usual. I think that this term was very successful. I saw a lot of happy students. We worked out a lot of problems. Life is easier on things like the beginning of the year, the beginning of a term when a student needs the money to get the textbooks, but the funding hadn't quite come through. Those problems are working themselves out, but it doesn't happen magically. It's because staff is making it work. And the students appreciate that, and being the person that hears from the parents of the students and the students, I appreciate that. It's one less thing to worry about and helps them with their student success. An item I would like to see us work toward is better internet access for our students. I believe that with digital books coming, with as many classes that are taught, yes, they're taught in the classroom, but yes, they're taught on the internet. Your homework comes off the internet, research is from the internet. We have to see if we can figure out a way that we can make internet available to our students. At my house, the internet bill was for that student more than $150, not quite $200. And that was okay because it's her air card and I can do it. But there's so many students in my end of the valley that don't have that option. I always said that some of my students, the only internet connection they have is on their telephone. They can't just go get Wi-Fi because you have to go a long way to get Wi-Fi. The Mechathermal here, you can sit in I'm told, I wouldn't know this. You can sit in the parking lot and use the internet, access our internet. The Mechathermal, I don't know what it is at the Indio campus, but I know at the Mechathermal campus, you can't do that. If you sit in the parking lot, now you're out of luck. And even if you were to sit in the farmer's field, which is right next door and a little bit closer, you still can't get it. So, exactly. So we need to work that out, and I don't have any ideas. A suggestion I've had, which was a very good suggestion, is that we look at other community colleges that serve our rural population. Maybe we can find something there. Otherwise, we are definitely advancing the divide.
The digital divide.
The digital divide. We're doing our part. And that's the exact opposite than what this college intends to do. We reach out to students in every way. We try to help them with their student success. We try to open that door in every way. So this is a huge challenge, but I'm hoping that we will, as we look toward our new campus in the Palm Springs area, as we reach out to all of our students, that is a challenge for them, and we need, as we move into more digital things, we need to help there be digital. Thank you. Joel, you have a superintendent president report? I believe.
Just briefly, and I am going to be very brief. And congratulations, Madam Chair Broughton.
Thank you so much.
I would like to thank Lotto for his services the past 6 years. Thank you.
Yes. Has it been that long?
And I'd also like to congratulate all the newly elected officers to CSEA. We look forward to continuing to work with CSEA and those that were recently elected. I've got a strange report here. I'm not going to go into the college and talk about a lot of things. There's an email I'm going to read to you. And I'm going to read it to you because, you know, we serve this community. We serve the top 100%. And every person is important to this college. So typically I wouldn't read something like this because it probably happens frequently, situations like this. But since I just got this email today, I wanted to share it because it came from a counselor. We'll see if I can read it. Well, I just now.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. All right, dear Joel, it is with a heavy heart that I inform you that we lost one of our COD students yesterday. It was Tuesday, this last Tuesday, December 5th. Norma became ill. She was taken to JFK in Indio, where they determined she suffered a stroke. Norma was then transported to Loma Linda, and she underwent surgery. The doctors were hopeful she would respond well, but sadly, she was not able to survive the surgery and the damage done by the stroke. Norma is survived by her husband, Geraldo, and her 5-year-old daughter, Kayla, and extended family. Norma is one of our Alas Con Futuro members, and she was present when the proclamation in support of DACA was read to the board. I know you would want to be made aware of her passing, so you will be able to send condolences. I've been in contact with Letitia, Norma's sister, providing support and reassuring the family. Today I called Letitia and offered financial support. As you can imagine, this is a heavy financial burden for an immigrant family. We discussed a GoFundMe account, and I'm waiting for the link. With your permission, I would like to send the information to our campus community. If it is possible for you to also to see if the alumni and the foundation is able to support the family, it would be greatly appreciated. I will be asking College of the Desert Faculty Association for support as well. And there's a picture of when they were here at the board meeting. Respectfully, Jose Simo. So, during a time when we're supposed to be happy and celebratory, let's reflect on what's important. That's my report. Thank you.
Life is precious. Thank you. Did you?
Yes.
Okay. Bonnie would like to amend her report.
Yeah, I forgot something. This last month, we had our senior fair at Amistad, and COD was highlighted. They were predominantly, I would say, probably 7/8 of our gymnasium. The people that gave up their time and attended that and came from COD to entice our students to come here. Once again, and the people that were behind the scenes at the college here, I owe you a big debt of gratitude. We had students that didn't realize what kind of jobs are out there or careers might be in their future that attended that. And though a lot of my students, they go up to one table and then they go and they sit in the bleachers, and then they go up to another table and they go sit in the bleachers. And it looks like they're not getting anything out of it. They came back to their classes and they were all gung-ho. And we've been doing the FAFSA constantly, and the students are coming out for that to get their FAFSA applications filled out. They're working harder to get their credits, and it makes a tremendous difference. And it's that contact. That was what I originally ran under, was I wanted to bring the college to the students so that they knew that it was there and that it was for them. And this really does help. And I hope that every high school in our valley has the opportunity to have a senior fair like we did at Amistad, and have the COD presence there, because it makes a tremendous difference. And it will make a tremendous difference in each of their lives and the lives of their families. And it is something that goes on forever. So thank you, each and every one of you that did help with that. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be considered for approval by a single vote without discussion. Any board member may request that an item be pulled from the consent agenda to be discussed and considered separately in the action item. Do I have a motion to approve the, actually, is there anything you want to pull? Where that comes in?
Yes, I'd like to pull C1.
C1, okay. Is there anything else? Okay. That's what I'm actually asking you. Okay. So I need to approve the agenda first, okay, so, did I hear that as a motion to approve? Yes, I
Oh,
did.
we need to
Yes,
approve,
that's what I
approve
was
it
just saying,
first?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We can pull
Oh,
it, okay.
So moved.
I have a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'm looking at Carlos, and I have a second for Fred. And now, Carlos?
I would
C1.
like to pull C1.
Okay. So anything else to be pulled? No, okay. So we have the consent agenda with, on the floor to approve with the exception of C1, which we're going to pull and vote on separately. All in favor of student vote?
Aye.
See?
Aye.
It's that hat, that's why, okay. Trustees, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? I hear that as unanimous vote. Okay. Now we move to the item which has been pulled, which was item C1. Bonnie?
Yes.
Okay, I need
noticed-
you to make a motion that we approve.
I move that we approve C1.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
I gotta speak now?
You did good.
Oh, I gotta speak.
I remembered.
Well,
Okay.
I noticed there was something on this that it looks like a huge expense to Palm Springs Unified School District. I was wondering if maybe John could give us some more information on that.
Okay, are you talking about on page 47?
I'm looking on,
Is that what you showed me?
No, I'm
No?
talking about, well, I guess it is on page 47 as well. That's where it also came in. So let's see. It's 47, it's at the top of the page. It's Palm Springs Unified School District.
Is this
Original-
47 of 49?
47 of 49,
Thank you.
but it's also on the very first page. It's one of the first things there. It's B, 0002780.
Yeah, this is our, this is, I'm sorry. Okay.
You're good, you're good.
All right. Yeah, this is for the lease, the land lease at the temporary campus at Palm Springs. So you approved that at your last board meeting. Their board approved it, and we entered into the lease, and it's a 3-year lease. And it's already happening. The portables are all set. My understanding, I haven't been over there in a while, but it looks like an instant campus, so.
So this is just proof we're moving along.
We are definitely moving along, and my understanding is that we are absolutely on track to open up January 22nd, I believe.
And since I hear that we have a number of students that are registered, that's really good news.
That is.
Okay. Thank you so much. Was there anything else?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I just want to go right under that where it says the Crystal Chrysler Jeep Dodge Center. I thought that was very good that we bought a new hybrid van for the students, and I think it's very important that students are able to learn these, especially adapt to the future. That's where we're heading, hybrids, electrical cars, and I think that's a great improvement.
Absolutely. Is that a correct interpretation of that expense, is that we bought a hybrid van?
Yeah, in fact, this van, I believe, has won awards for its innovation as far as the new design on it, which means our students are going to be able to work on the latest things. And I believe it was a Strong Workforce purchase through our Strong Workforce grant. And that goes to our fleet. We also have other hybrids, and we also have a Toyota Mirai, which is a hydrogen
fuel cell cars. So, again, these aren't people's leftovers that have been donated to kind of tear apart. These are
Right.
the cutting-edge technology today.
And that is the challenge for a school, is to train students in the future and not in the past. Although it's very important that you understand the basics, of the concept of how the engine works. If it's not what's being sold or being repaired, it won't get you a job. So that's really wonderful news. I also noticed that we have a new machine in the copy center. How does that pencil out? Does that, $145,000 is really a lot of money. Does that help us?
This is actually something I'm very happy about and very proud about. We had, in our copy center, we've had a number of large machines in there for years that have not served us all that well. They've been very expensive. The lease finally came up on one, and the other one is about to come up. So by July 1st, we're going to have all brand-new equipment in there. But right now, we have new color equipment that allows us to do a lot of advanced things and expand into new areas. The best news about it from my perspective is we get to do a lot more, but it's going to cost a lot less. Our lease payments are going to go from over $11,000 a month to less than $4,000 a month.
Wow.
So it's not very often we get to do a lot more with a lot less.
That's
So
right. You have to
I'm happy for
celebrate
that
those
one.
items, yes, sir, yes. Thank you so much. So any other questions on that
Yeah, there
area?
was one other thing I was wondering about. It's CW-GINC, Incorporated, for $32,000. Well, it's on this big list at the beginning.
Oh, big list at the beginning, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's
Purchase
the
order
that's the way I
November
describe it.
2017.
It's 49,963.
That particular purchase order is for CDW to help us with the installation of our computer network out at the Palm Springs campus. So we got those buildings in there, and now it's time to get the switches, routers, and all the cables and the classroom AV stuff, and this particular contract is to help with that.
Excellent. One more step
How many
forward on-
computers are we going to have there?
We have 3 computer labs, correct?
Oh, 3
Yeah,
labs.
3 computer labs, along with other staff computers, and of course, each classroom and the AV setups that they have, and library resources and other things.
Outstanding.
That's great.
Help us provide services and opportunities. Yes.
The 43, P00499914 for 43,400 HMC Architect. I see that they're out of Ontario. I'd like to, this is maybe for the future for the college and the district, let's hire locally. I see that
Take
we
bids.
do, they're HMC architects. I just would love, I'm always a big believer, as a businesswoman, to see local businesses, architect. We have a lot of talented people here in the Coachella Valley. It would be nice to get local architect companies, et cetera, here. We have a lot of talented individuals and architects here, so just to see a little more of that and, thank you.
Are we not required to have, we have a certain bid process, is that
Right, I'm
correct?
well aware of the bid process, but it would be, I've been seeing for the past 8 years, we have a lot of it would be nice to see local, professional services that we hire, that's all.
Hopefully they'll.
So
submit their
maybe we
bids.
need to encourage our local architects to bid. Maybe we don't have a high enough bid rate.
Maybe we should look at the outreach, maybe we need to better
That's
our
what I'm saying,
outreach.
maybe we
Yeah.
need to reach out.
Okay.
We are doing outreach because we know
point
the
exactly.
construction environment right now is very competitive. So we
Mhm.
are actively pursuing local as well as California-wide
Yeah.
for contracts and architects. So we are doing our part. Unfortunately, the market is such right now that it's very, very competitive, so.
Okay, thank you.
The young architects I know, the very architects that would have been scratching for a job a few years ago are now looking for partners. So looking for students coming out of school that
That's what-
are ready to come on. So it is a very competitive thing at the moment. Okay. Any other questions on that item, C1? Thank you, John. We appreciate it very much.
My pleasure.
Okay, there being no more discussion, I'll fold up my tent here. Oh, yes, the student trustee, I get it, okay. Okay, the item that was pulled was C1. We had a motion, a second, and discussion and information, so we're ready for the vote. Student trustee Delgado, whom she underlined so I wouldn't forget you.
Aye.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I hear that, I heard all the votes, so I call that a unanimous vote. The next item on the board is the Board of Trustees, Board Policy Review, second readings. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 2340 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for Board Policy 2340. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye? Aye. Opposed? I hear that is a unanimous vote. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 2345?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, student trustee. Do I have any, is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion on Board Policy 2345, public participation at board meetings as presented. Student trustee, your vote?
Aye.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I hear that is unanimous vote. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 2350, speakers addressing the board as presented? Motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Fred, I have a second. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Okay.
We added in there, a member of the public who utilizes the translator will be allowed a maximum of 6 minutes. It's not that I disagree with that. I just want to make sure that, do we provide translators if necessary? I didn't see it in there.
I'm sure we do.
Okay.
So, at the request of the President's office, if there's accommodations that we need to address, because we anticipate a speaker who's not bringing their own translator, we can work out those details as long as the request is through the President's office.
Prior to the meeting. So if they just show up because they didn't know, we don't provide translation?
Unfortunately, if we don't have translator, interpretation, ASL interpreters on.
Oh, okay, we're just,
Yeah.
you're just talking to ASL, okay.
And then translators also, in terms of English as a second language, is another.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
But that would be an advance notice.
It has to be advance notice. Does it say that in this? I didn't find that in here. I was wondering if maybe we need to put it in the policy.
I was thinking that.
And this is a board policy, so the
Right.
scope is broad.
So would that be in the procedure then?
That's correct.
Right.
It
Okay.
would be. Thank you.
Okay. I
Thank
just
you,
want to
Dr.
make sure
Harry.
that, you know, the people want to come, they can
They can
get
come and they can
assistance and that
speak,
they
right.
can't speak, because I don't want to just
Thank you.
turn people away.
Point of
Surround
interest.
yourself with
Point
good
of
people.
information. I just have a question. Do we have a board policy for like students that want to address the board that are like disabled or that are they need more time, or have we had a board policy like that, or?
We have an ADA.
They would fit within this policy as
This
well.
That's what I
policy as
think.
well?
Right.
Oh, okay.
This would
Well,
be the broadest policy.
Oh, okay.
So that way, the more narrow circumstances would fit under it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we
understand.
would have to have a policy for each one of those groups. But this way, students are enveloped and brought in.
But
Right.
that brings a good
That's a good question.
question, because
It
if
doesn't
they're
really say.
disabled
state.
Yeah.
and,
It doesn't state that.
well, I know, what
It's
I'm
a public
asking
road.
is, if they are disabled and they need more time, do they just go through the chair then?
So usually when we're dealing with students who will be addressing the board, we make accommodations through the Office of DSP&S, Students with Disability. And we do have administrative procedures for students with disabilities.
Okay, what about just the general public? Just they should go through the Office of the President, and then we can make special.
Yes, and then also, the board chair would have the prerogative of allowing.
Extra
the
time at the will
yes.
of the board, okay.
Just as an information item, I recently attended a board meeting for Riverside Community College.
Mhm.
And the statement that the board president reads about public comments
Mhm.
included information along that line.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
So I noted that we didn't, and I just
Mhm.
made a mental note of that, so.
That'd be interesting.
Do you have access to that wording?
We can-
Next time you see it, would you pull it out
We can
and?
get it.
You can get it?
Jody,
That would
could
be
you-
worth,
Could you get it? It
Yeah.
would be our public comment statement. It was well stated, because it
Mhm.
covered these areas.
right. Well, then we could run it to the appropriate people and craft it so it matches us. And then bring it back for whatever action or approval is
So
necessary.
the fastest way would be your equivalent at Riverside.
Mhm.
The reason I bring this up is because this is supposed to be participatory point of our board meeting.
Mhm.
And we want people to have access and equal access.
Absolutely.
So it's just something that,
Right, that's why the, asking about the students was a very
Mhm.
valid question.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because,
Matt brought it.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you.
okay, is there any other discussion? We have a motion and a second on Board Policy 2350, speakers addressing the board as presented. We're ready for the vote. Student trustee Delgado,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next items, board member travel. Do I have a motion to approve the board member travel as presented?
So move.
Thank you, Bonnie. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion.
Well, I don't know how to word this. Because, okay, I'll bring it up later.
Okay. Okay. Student trustee
Wait, one
Delgado. Yeah?
question. Do we know who's gonna be attending these? Oh, that says that on
Yeah.
the.
Student trustee Delgado?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I hear that is unanimous vote. Okay, the next item is C under President. Member at Large East Valley Representative of the Citizens Board Oversight Committee. Do I have a motion to approve the representative for the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion, thank you, Fred. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second that we approve this gentleman for the committee. Do I have any discussion?
Do we have a little background on him?
the-
As our representative,
Certainly.
Dr. Kinnaman?
Yes, he has served on the Citizens Oversight Committee, and this is a reappointment or extension.
Okay, thank you.
So, student trustee, are you ready for your vote?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hear that is unanimous vote. Human Resources, approval of tentative agreements between the Desert Community College District and the Desert Community College Faculty Association. Do I have a motion to approve the tentative agreements between the Desert Community College District and the Desert Community College Faculty Association as presented?
So move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Student trustee Delgado?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I hear that is unanimous vote. Approval of tentative agreements between the Desert Community College District and the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 407. Do I have a motion to approve the tentative agreements between the Desert Community College District and the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 407 as presented?
So move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
And a second. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I hear that as unanimous vote. Number 3, approval of salary adjustment and health and welfare benefit between the Desert Community College District and the Leadership Employment Group. Do I have a motion to approve the salary adjustment and health and welfare benefit between the Desert Community College District, just like to hear me say that, and the Leadership Employee Group as presented?
So move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Student trustee Delgado?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I hear that as unanimous vote. Administrative services, budget revisions. Do I have a motion to approve the budget revisions as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we want a presentation?
Yes.
Yes, we do,
Yeah.
okay. I'm looking up and
Yes.
down the board and I'm getting
Yeah.
this.
John, do you mind addressing item 1, budget revisions? Thank you.
Thank you, John.
If you look at these revisions, most of these have to do with revised allocations for many of our categorical programs in our student services area primarily. So for that, because there's a couple of really large ones, there's a large one in the clean energy workforce allocation, and that is part of the Prop 39. We've been using that every year to do like the LED light upgrades. We did some air conditioning replacements, things like that. The largest one is in the student success area of that, and I'm going to defer to Dr. Neri to tell you why that's so large.
Thank you. So categorical funding in the student services is driven by 3 things: increase in students served, increase in services, and it's actually outcomes-based. That means we're doing it, we're not only meeting outcomes, but we're actually rising above them. We're one of the few institutions in the state who receive these increases, and I want to point your attention to the triple SP allocation, and I believe we were the highest reallocation in the state. And a lot of the credit goes to the Dean Phillips and the counseling staff, because in a given year, they went from providing 1,400, give or take, student education plans to over 4,500.
Whoa.
And they did that by reorganizing themselves based on what students need and how to serve them best. So just kudos to Dean Phillips, the counseling department, and to the categorical areas that provide those services to students, and luckily we can continue to do more.
Very interesting. Is there any other questions on that? John, do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion and a second that we approve the budget revisions as presented. Hearing no more discussion, student trustee Delgado?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. The 2016-2017 College of the Desert Foundation Audit Report. We have heard this audit report, and this is our opportunity to approve the report. So do I have a motion?
You have a motion, so move.
I have a motion that we approve
Second.
the report and a second. Do we have any additional discussion? We had an opportunity
Yeah.
to ask important questions.
That's great.
Okay, hearing no additional discussion.
I'm just glad it was a very clean audit.
I am too,
and everything
and
went well.
I know that I've rotated out of that position now for a number of years, but while I was attending the foundation meetings, They had a lot of discussion about how to make their books easier to keep and easier to read. The accountants had no trouble reading them, but the people that were actually doing the inputting would have to input the same information in several different places. And every time one does that, there's a chance to make a mistake. So Vice President Howell had some good ideas about how to change that, as well as some of the professional accounting staff that they hired for there. So they've worked together and obviously come up with a great, this was the best report, the best audit I've ever heard from that, so. And it was with a new auditor, and in my experience, if you're ever gonna have questions, it's that first year because they had to figure it out. So I thought it was very, very good. So we've had a motion and a second. Are we okay on discussion? Student trustee Delgado?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I hear that as unanimous vote. And once again, certification of signatures. Do I have a motion to approve the certification of signatures as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? A hurdle we jump on demand. As we change seats, we change places we sign on the card. So, any discussion? Student trustee Delgado?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I hear that as unanimous vote. I'm sure the card will be coming soon. Resolution 1215, oh my, we voted on this. No, it's a different one. This is the resolution, okay. 121517-1, authorized signatures. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 121517-1, authorized signatures as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. This is for our resolution for the authorized signatures as presented. Is there any discussion? It is a roll call vote.
All right. Student trustee Delgado.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton.
Aye.
Trustee Yant.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Trustee Broughton.
Aye.
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, now we would be moving into our study session, which we had earlier. It was very nice to have that when we did.
In the
We had
beginning.
the audience at the beginning, but we got the information very succinctly, very lovely the presentation. So it's very nice. Thank you for that. The next item is the
Can I
fut-
mention something on that,
Yes,
Madam Chair?
Sure.
I really appreciated the timeliness in the beginning, because a lot of times, we don't have a big audience, and it's our study sessions are very important for the public and the community that we serve and represent. I think we should just revisit and think about maybe putting it in the beginning. I don't know we can do that as a board. I think I really enjoyed it in the beginning, to hear that when we had the most people here.
Yeah,
As we wane down, I noticed, we have less people in the public and less people. I don't know. I think we should think about that.
I think
So-
it's definitely worth revisiting and seeing where we can work that in, so that we have the potential for the largest audience, but yet
Right.
we make the fewest people that need to come and leave and go back to their work can do that. So I think that's worth looking at. It's good.
So what could we do, Dr. Kinnaman? Can we revisit that, or how?
Certainly, and the flexibility is also nice when the board allows for us to make some adjustments, because there may be some board agendas that are much more comprehensive and robust that you would not
Yes.
want to move them forward.
Correct.
Or maybe you would in those situations, and I think that the flexibility, depending on the amount of material that the board
And the topics of
wants
the
to
day.
cover.
Mhm.
And then as we do, as I sit down with the board chair, we could have that discussion on a monthly basis on whether or
I
not
think it's-
we should make an adjustment.
Great. And
Okay.
I love the posting and the presenting for our presenters. That really worked out well. And you
So
could see
you'll
from
take
his
care of it,
relief.
Madam Chair,
we'll
in
do
your
it-
executive meeting?
Yes, each I think it's worth doing to put on my checklist of, to look at it each month and see when the most appropriate time is. Future agenda items. Are there any future agenda items you'd like added to the list? Student trustee?
Not at this time. Thank you,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Mary Jane?
Yes, the digital divide, I think I'm with you, and I share the concern about the digitalness, the availability of not having a divide. That's something that I would like to see. Having met with the Desert Sands Unified, it was interesting that they were giving out laptops as well for the Desert Sands Unified. They're going to be doing a lot of digital partnerships, so something to do here at the college district, and us being the leader on something for digital,
Right.
accessibility
And-
would be good.
Yeah, the accessibility.
I call it accessibility.
I'm not as worried about although perhaps I should be, I'm not as worried about folks actually having the equipment as I am being
That's
able to
fine.
access it when they get home.
Yeah, the accessibility, so
Mhm.
I think that's something that we can talk to. Who's our current carrier? I don't know who our IT people are.
It doesn't work that way. I
Yeah,
think it's way more complicated
Way more
than that.
complicated.
Yeah.
It's way more complicated than that, but I think we need to become educated in it. At this point, I don't know enough, to when I hear other trustees talk, sometimes it's knowing the right question to ask, and I don't feel that I even know enough to know the right question to ask.
And I would like to add, we are in the process of identifying an external consultant that can help us identify how to address that. Because we know it varies significantly throughout the district.
Yes.
And we'd really like a good assessment and some recommendations on how we might be able to address it. So.
Thank you. And one more item, if I may, Madam Chair. The January budget for the governor is going to be coming out, so I know we do a phenomenal job, and I just kind of want to know where we're going to be at. So I know that happens in January, and I know the preparations begin. Thank you.
Okay.
An update on education.
Thank you. Fred?
Not this month.
Okay. Bonnie?
Every year, I know when we get a new chair of this board, we always talk about a board retreat, and I think sometimes we get started late. And I think that if we start early, maybe we can get that retreat in, because it's something that I think as a board we really need, and I hate to call it a retreat, but lack of a better term, an opportunity for us to really set our sights and our vision for the future, and to get any additional training that we may need.
Thank you. I would like to remind the board that sometimes by the end of this meeting, our brains are full of new information and perhaps aren't able to generate appropriate agenda items, but you think of something a little later and you think, gee, I wish I'd mentioned that. So we can always email it to Julia with a little note that says, please put this on our future agenda items to be brought up for things. So this is not your only shot at this. When you wake up at 3 in the morning, she probably ain't gonna read the email right then, but she will pretty soon after that, so. I believe there's no closed session? No? Okay. So seeing no more business on our agenda, I would like to close this meeting, but first I would like to mention that we did lose a former instructor this month, Ron Evans. He was well known in the community. Now you've messed with my head there. And he brought a lot of visibility to College of the Desert. He had a very popular ceramics class. He was a person that perhaps the community member had not interacted with the college before, but they'd always wanted a ceramics class. So it gave them an opportunity to come on campus and begin to be part of the community. So he's been retired for a while, and we lost his wife, who was a community artist earlier. So losing Ron is sort of the last of that legend. So I would like to honor him by mentioning his passing, and in that way encompassing other members that we've lost this year of our COD community. So as we end this this year on the passings. We look forward to the next year as beginnings. So with no objections, I adjourn this meeting at 2:43. See you in January.